like to welcome Keith Miller. He is from World's Finest Wrestling over in Connorsville, Indiana. How are you feeling today?
I'm good, thanks.
All right. All right. So I noticed that your next event is coming up on the 29th of this month, and it's an all women's event. And I'm kind of excited to see what you guys have for that. How are you feeling about that event?
Well, honestly, we've been trying to start up a women's division pretty much since we started running, but it's the women are so busy, and it's hard to get them nailed down and committed to a series of dates. But the last couple of times we've had women in, the reaction has been so positive. I was like, it's time. Like, we have to create a women's title and create a strong women's division. So I'm excited for it. And we're also going to try sponsorships for the first time. So
Nice.
people sponsor the women. So there's there's a lot of cool stuff happening on the 29th.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to kick this off with the usual question is, what got you interested in the wrestling business?
Wow. Okay. So I have been a wrestling fan since I was 4.
Same.
I'm 9. So that's 45 years of just loving wrestling. In the late 90s, mid 90s, I had a buddy who was a ring announcer back home in upstate New York, and he was using his ring announcing to pay for training. So that was really like the first time I'd heard of independent wrestling. Back in the 70s and 80s, there was territories, but independent wrestling is a completely different animal than territories. And that was really kind of the first time I'd heard of independent wrestling. He worked for this company called the USWA that promoted shows in upstate New York. And I don't suggest this to anyone, to be completely honest, but what happened was, as he trained, he came to my house and trained me.
Oh,
So
wow.
he learned stuff at training, and then he would come home and train me in the stuff that he learned at training. It was really, really basic. Body slams, suplexes, hip tosses, etiquette, chain wrestling type stuff, all the different bumps and things like that, back bumps, flip bumps, that sort of thing.
So you started off as a independent wrestler then?
Yeah. So basically, by the time Vinny got done training me, or as done training me as he could, I had a match for a company in Pennsylvania, in California, Pennsylvania, called the MWA, and I hurt my knees pretty bad when we were practicing for that match, and I already had pretty bad knees to begin with. And then it was a 10-hour drive. We're heading home, and I said, "So Vinny, am I a wrestler now?" And he looked at me and said, "Did you get paid?" And I said, "Well, no, I didn't get paid this time." And he said, "Then you're not a wrestler." And I was like, well, crap. But I just got the crap beat out of me. And the show was on TV. So I was on TV. There was a crowd there, but apparently I wasn't a wrestler yet. And I got home and I sat down and I thought about how bad my stomach hurt and how bad my neck hurt and my knees hurt. And I was like, maybe there's a different way for me to go in this thing. Because I was never the most athletic guy, but I feel like I've always had charisma and I've always been creative. So there was a guy named Don Adams who passed away a couple years ago, right around Easter. And I was doing video production for him and commentary at the time. And Don and I kind of went on the road a little bit together, and I picked his brain, and he sort of taught me the ins and outs of being a local independent wrestling promoter.
Nice.
And it was awesome. Like, I learned, about contacting businesses and about making a relationship with the local media and things like that. And this was like before the internet really got huge. So obviously that was kind of a whole different learning process that I had to do on my own. But without Vinny and without Don, I would have just been a fan, who sat at home and loved wrestling. So I'm really, really thankful to both of them for getting me involved in the business and kind of teaching me things that I've continued to learn every day. It's a learning process the entire time. So
you would consider them your mentors then in the
Yeah.
business.
Along with Apollo Star, who
Apollo's cool. I've seen him wrestle. He's
my
really
best
cool.
friend for almost 30 years at this point. Way before wrestling, we kind of got into things together, and obviously we took two different paths. And he went a completely, he became honestly one of the best wrestlers in the world. I hate that he is kind of a hidden gem because he's legitimately one of the best. And a lot of people just never got a chance to see it. But to this day, like, I call him when I have questions, when I'm trying to figure something out and I can't quite get it. I still call him. I just called him a couple of days ago to talk to him about something that's going on. And he's always there, and he's always got my back, and that's, can't ask for much more. So
as I've gotten to like all these interviews, I got to meet with Chris Icon, whom I think is very, very cool. He's mentioned that even though like the business is tough, that a lot of you guys are very tight knit, and that you usually can lean on each other pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, wrestling is a weird thing. I think it depends on your personality too, to an extent. There's guys who are like, oh, I got out of the business and no one contacts me. So I've never had that experience, like, to be completely honest. When COVID hit, obviously wrestling shut down for a while, and I still maintained contact with the people that I was close with. And when my daughter, I had to shut WFW down for about 10 months because of some things that happened with my daughter, like personal things. Never lost contact with anybody who was involved. And it, some of it felt like, well, we're waiting to see if you're going to come back so we can get work. But a lot of it was genuine concern, and people really, really being there for me. And I think it just depends on your personality. It depends on what you put into it, what you get out of it,
Yeah.
The brotherhood can definitely be real. It just, you just got to be around the right people. So,
yeah. And I've noticed some of them have like, and not necessarily a bad thing sometimes, but I've noticed a lot of them have very large egos. Like, you can definitely tell when they walk a room, you can feel their presence there.
Yeah. See, and there's a thing about that too. Like there's a difference between a presence and an ego, like, you have to believe that you're a star to be a star. I mean, that's
100%.
just the reality of it. Like, if you don't believe in yourself and believe in what you can do, then you're not really going to get far. But at the same time, pushing other people aside for your own gain, that's where things can get kind of sketchy, So,
yeah. So, with everything you learned, how did this lead to you getting into World's Finest Wrestling or building World's Finest Wrestling up?
Okay, so originally back home, we were going to start a company called Extreme Limit Wrestling. It was going to be me and Vinny and my friend Chad. And we kind of got ahead of ourselves doing that, to be completely honest. Like, we were not ready. So we were going to do an event, but it didn't work out. And then I just kind of put it in my back pocket. This was around 2001. And just kept doing like the production stuff and the commentary stuff and whatever else I could do. A little bit of managing here and there, that kind of thing. And then my buddy Chad actually started XLW in Wisconsin and had a pretty decent run. And I started an XLW branch in Indiana that unfortunately only ran for one show because of building issues. Building issues are real. Like, that's something I always used to think that promoters would be like, oh, the building kicked us out. The building gave the date to somebody else. The building demanded more money right before the show, that kind of thing. I always thought it was excuses, but my experience in wrestling is that the thing that holds you back the biggest in trying to run events is buildings. Like buildings can just be so difficult to get lined up and work with. So after the XLW event, which was very successful, the main event was Cody Hawk and Flash Flanagan, which I'm the only person who's ever done that match, which kind of shocks me. But it was a great match. And after a while, we ended up doing Pro Wrestling Elite, myself and Fuji Brown. And that was a fun experience. We did really, really well for a while. And then Fuji and I kind of had a falling out, and I left PWE. And after that, I came to Connorsville, and I kind of looked around, and there's not a lot to do in Connorsville. It's getting better, but really the town, I felt like bringing wrestling into the town and giving kids something to do on a Saturday once a month, and something that families can come together. Because I mean, you've been out to our events and you know, like, we're a very family friendly show. Like we try really hard to be exciting and have a lot of action, but not anything that like you couldn't bring anyone to, all ages. And then we got a couple dates out at the fairgrounds, and we ran there. And then we pretty much just been going from there. And that was in 2018. So we're coming up on, well, we just hit 5 years in June. But I don't really like to celebrate the anniversary right now, just because of, you know, COVID shut us down for a while, and the stuff with my daughter shut us down for a while. So even though we've been running for 5-6 years, it doesn't really feel like it yet. It feels like we still have something to prove, and we're still new, and we're still hungry. So yeah.
Nice. And with you being in the position that you're in, how do you keep yourself organized? Is there anything like do you keep a calendar? Do you have like a notebook?
Okay, so I have a girl named Jade Henderson who watches the door for us. And Jade is organized beyond belief. Every month I send her the budget and what we're spending, and then she keeps track of everyone who comes, everyone who's booked, when they show up, what time they showed up, and she crosses them off in her book. She keeps track of how many tickets we sold. She keeps an eye out for regulars and lets me know when people are coming back. Jade is invaluable. Like she is really, really, I don't know if I could do everything that I do without her, to be completely honest. She's a great girl, and she really helps a lot. And then my partner, Tevin, who I believe you guys have talked to.
Yeah, great guy.
Yeah, he's awesome. Good dude. He helps with the money side of things. I'm really creative. Like I have all the ideas bouncing around inside my brain. The rest of it is not necessarily my department. But yeah, I have a good team of people who help me stay organized more than anything.
Nice. Do you have being in the position that you're in, do you have any fears like in the business? Like, does anything kind of like make you nervous? Like maybe you couldn't handle it or something? Or do you think you have a good enough support system you guys could take things head on?
I mean, I think we're good. You know, the biggest thing is just show day, wanting everything to go smoothly. And it you know, there's always hiccups. There's always things that that you can't control, you know, but I try my best not to think about those things, not to dwell on those things, and just push forward and do the best we can for the fans. But yeah, I can't really say that there's anything I'm afraid of necessarily in the business. Like, I'm an open book. I don't have anything to hide, and neither does our company. So
that's good.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything.
All right, now I got to get into the fun questions. All right, okay. So obviously being wrestling fans, do you have a favorite wrestler?
Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert of all time. My current favorite is Rhea Ripley, which is weird because I've never.
Oh, Rhea Ripley.
It's never been a woman, but Rhea Ripley is so amazing. Like,
Oh, she is that character. I
yeah.
love her right now.
And as a person, I mean, I know that it's all kind of they kind of represent themselves in a certain way, but at the same time, she seems really honest and candid, and I love it. Like watching her interviews out of character, if you will, and she just seems like a genuine person, and she's so good. She's just so good. Like, I mean, you can't deny it. Like, it's just, man.
No, I enjoy watching her. She is extremely athletic and like I don't know, she's very captivating. Like
Absolutely.
I can't stop watching her. So yes, for me, like I said, I've been watching wrestling since I was about 4 or 5, and I grew up during the Attitude Era. Was
Okay.
probably watching things I shouldn't have watched, but I did.
Right.
So I don't know if I can actually pinpoint like of all time because there was just so many. So like The Undertaker, The Rock, Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair. There's way too many. I don't know if I could actually pinpoint. Maybe The Undertaker because he's
Right.
just so iconic.
Nice. My favorite wrestler from the Attitude Era is probably, I mean, it'd be Edge and Christian, like the tag team.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, they were, man. Everything that they did was gold. Like,
I about to say all their matches with like the Dudleys and the Hardys, like top tier, like ladder tables, ladders, chairs,
yeah,
like, and they're still good. I could still go back and watch them all over again, and they're great.
yeah, 100%. Edge and Christian hold up for sure. Um, I remember when they won. It was just a ladder match, but I mean, they ended up using like so many different weapons in it.
Yes.
And the end of the match was Rhino putting one of them, I don't remember which one, on his shoulders and climbing the ladder so that they could get the belts. And they had put a table on top to balance the they put two on top. And then Rhino carried one of them up the ladder. And they got
because Edge and Christian, I think, won that match because they were sitting on top of that table that they had on top of the ladders.
Right. And afterwards, someone was like, I don't like the Edge and Christian won because they didn't do anything during the match. And I was like, you're not supposed to like that they won. Like, what they did was perfect. Like let the freaking good guys kill themselves, and then they take advantage of the situation and get the belts. Like, that's beautiful.
That's good storytelling. Keep it. And they deserve it.
Just be like, oh, they didn't do anything, but they won. You know, it's what we're supposed to do. Like, it's perfect.
With any of their matches, I don't remember which one it was because they've had a couple, but there was one where I think Jeff Hardy was dangling from the belt and Edge speared him in midair and about knocked himself out.
I feel like wasn't that the Terry Invitational thing?
I thought it was like a triple threat with all three of those tag teams again, but I'm not for certain. I would actually have to go back and rewatch it, but that like sticks out in my head.
I remember that happening though. I remember them spearing him off the belts. Yeah. He was just dangling. That was insane. Like a midair spear.
Yeah, and about knocked himself for a loop. He like sees stars for a minute, and I that stands out.
Yeah.
All right. And then another fun question that I like asking everybody because I love the answers. So if you came with a warning label, what would it say?
Oh man. Geez, what would my warning label say? I may speak harshly, but I have a good heart.
Daddy, can we go?
Are we leaving? Well, Daddy's doing an interview right now, buddy.
Aw.
Yeah,
I think I told one of my previous interviewers that it would have to be something about my mouth. I have a big old mouth.
Yeah.
Warning, I talk too much.
Yeah. So I'll kind of get to riffing and just saying things that you know, and it's not that I don't mean them or that I don't really I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I've put my mouth multiple times and had to kind of explain my intentions.
So it sounds like you're straightforward.
What's that?
I said it sounds like you're straightforward with what you're saying.
Yeah, for sure. And some people don't necessarily know how to take things like that.
I do wish them some.
All right. And then the other question I like asking is to your fan base, if you have a fan base, like, is there anything that you would like to say to them?
Well, I appreciate them supporting us.
Are you coming?
I mean, you said I have to, right? I appreciate them supporting us and keep supporting us. I mean, we wouldn't be anything without them. So
All
the
right.
fans are definitely the most important thing.
Absolutely.
Because without the fans, we're performing for empty arenas, and that's or empty gyms. So.
All right. And do you want to give a shout out for your next event in case anybody else would like to come see your show?
Yeah, absolutely. So July 29th, Hey Ladies, it will be at the Boys and Girls Club in Connersville, Indiana, 825 North Central Avenue. Doors open at 5:30. Bell time is 6:30. Tickets are $10 for general admission and $12 for ringside. We're also doing sponsorship packages, which are
going somewhere for a second.
which are $30 to sponsor wrestlers and $60 to sponsor matches. And some of that money does actually go towards increasing the wrestlers' payday. So
Nice.
yeah.
All right.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's about it.
Hell yeah.
Out the event on Facebook. Just search World's Finest Wrestling presents Hey Ladies. It's an 8-man women's tournament for our first ever ladies championship. So
Well, I know Tyler and I are going to be there and enjoy that event. I'm kind of excited about it.
it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be good. Big Mama and Kenzie James had one of the best matches I've ever seen, men, women, whatever, at our last event. And they're having a rematch in the first round. So I know for a fact that, kicking things off with something like that is going to be awesome. Ari Alexander is going to be there, and she's been on TV. She's been on AEW several times, and she's wrestling Riley Matthews, who's one of the most popular up-and-coming women on the scene right now. Storm Garcon, who was trained by Cody Hawk in his last class. Savannah Sweet's going to be there. Juniper Gates. Trying to think of who else. Is that 8? Oh, Tegan Rose from Supreme Wrestling. And she's got a nice little following. Second generation wrestler. So yeah, I mean, I feel like we've got together a really, really good group of 8 women who are diverse and who are going to showcase like all the highs of women's wrestling right now, so
it sounds like we got stacked cards for this next one.
indeed.
Yes.
Yeah, always.
Hell yeah.
Cards WFW. That is one thing, man. I'm proud of the fact that we always have, I think, the best talent in the area on our events, without a doubt. So
hell yeah. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day for this interview. It actually means a whole lot. We do plan to be there to see the all women's event, and I encourage anybody out there to go see it. It'll be a good one. And once again, thank you so much.
I appreciate you having me. Sorry about the stuff with my son. Got a little funky there for a minute, but
oh, you're good.
All right, so I'll see you guys on the 29th.
Yep, we're going to be there.
All right, awesome. Bye.
Bye.
I'm a